First this hour, this programme has learned that Nigel Farage is facing what could be costly and embarrassing legal action. We've seen letters from lawyers representing this man, Amjad Bashir, a senior UKIP politician who defected to the Conservatives back in January. He is now threatening to take the UKIP leader to the High Court over comments Nigel Farage made earlier this year, the morning after that defection was announced.
We've been increasingly alarmed by Mr Bashir's behaviour over the last few months. He didn't tell us the truth about the employment of illegal immigrants in his business. There are some money...
Now, he denies all of this, we have to say, very strongly.
I'm afraid there's some quite strong documentary evidence, and we've been investigating this. There are some big open questions in Brussels about money. Whichever way we look at this, he'd reached the end of the road with us. He knew that. My only surprise, and my genuine surprise, is that the Conservative Party have accepted him.
Well, our reporter Jim Reid has the story. What do you know, Jim?
Victoria, so this is turning into what could be a serious legal row between these two men. So on the one side, you've got Nigel Farage, the leader of UKIP. On the other, Amjad Bashir. Now, as you said, until recently, he was a senior member of UKIP. He was an MEP, a member of the European Parliament. He was often seen up there on stage with Mr Farage. But back in January, he defected from UKIP to the Conservatives. Now, just before that defection, hours before, he was suspended by UKIP. Then the next day, Mr Farage comes out, all guns blazing, as you just saw on television, saying, among other things, that Mr Bashir had serious questions to answer over his use of, for example, money in Brussels. Now, Mr Bashir defended himself at the time, said all these allegations were wrong. Now, we've seen these legal letters sent by his solicitors to Mr Farage and also Mr Crowther, who's the chairman of UKIP, and in them, as you can see, it says, there can be no other conclusion than that means the comments you just saw by Mr Farage, were published as part of a deliberate campaign on the part of UKIP and its most senior officers to discredit Mr Bashir in retaliation for his decision to join the Conservative Party.
And so what exactly does Mr Bashir want? What's he asking for?
Three things, really. He wants an apology and a complete retraction of those comments made in open court. Now, if that happens, that would be very embarrassing for Mr Farage. He wants a promise not to repeat the allegations, and he wants financial damages. And he says if he doesn't get those things, he'll consider libel action in the High Court.
And what about Nigel Farage and UKIP? What do they say?
Well, they're in quite a difficult situation. We put this to them yesterday, and they said they thought these letters here were going to be private between both parties. They didn't think we would get hold of them. So they say, look, it's very difficult for them to comment on something they thought was a private legal matter. So a short statement from their spokesperson last night just saying UKIP does not take part in trial by television.
OK. Thank you very... I don't know why you're laughing there in the background. Thank you very much, Jim.